General Hayden. Let me just switch gears a little bit and go to sort of cybersecurity. You draw a distinction in the book between America's approach to cybersecurity and Russia's approach to cybersecurity. Tell me about that difference and why it's important.
So what I try to describe it, and this occurred to me as I'm writing, I'm sure this happens to other authors, you're going along and go, whoa, wait a minute. And so I go back in my own personal history. I became commander of something called the Air Intelligence Agency. It's kind of the Air Force flagship thing.
Based in Texas.
In San Antonio. And we were on a cutting edge of things cyber at the time, which you would expect. Air Force, it's kind of what a natural domain for a service that operates in air and space. We had moved into the cyber domain, I think, more quickly than the other services. So we were on the doctrinal cutting edge of thinking our way through this. And we began to talk about cyber dominance. Okay, land, sea, air, space, cyber. It's a domain. We're going to go operate there.
A domain is a separate sort of
an
has
operational
environment that has its own doctrine.
Its own theater of war, right?
Okay.
And has its own laws of physics, its own doctrine, its own approach, and so on. But we had for a while a theological debate there that made us look like a medieval university populated by Jesuits. I mean, we were really pounding the table as to whether or not we were in the cyber dominance business or the information dominance business. And let me explain that very quickly. I mean, cyber is what you think it is. It's protecting your computers, attacking their computers. Information has cyber included, but it also includes other things like public diplomacy, public affairs, deception, what the Russians call maskirovka, disinformation, psychological operations. So where they're saying, so where are we going? And we frankly, I think, at least implicitly, made the decision, yeah, we're going to do cyber. And we have a cyber command now. We don't have an information dominance command. And we rejected this for a couple of reasons. Number one, that's very complicated. And this was hard enough. And second, in our political culture, you can't do this very long before you start implicating the Bill of Rights. First Amendment pops up, the Fourth Amendment pops up. So we stayed over here in cyber dominance. The Russians, they went to door number 2. And the apostle for this inside the Russian armed forces was the fellow who's now chief of the general staff, Valery Gerasimov, who wrote about contactless warfare, using informational means to achieve victory by influencing the target country's population. That's what the Russians are doing.
So that is the Gerasimov doctrine. And the quote that is most quoted is, "The role of non-military means of achieving political and strategic goals has grown, and in many cases they have exceeded the power of force of weapons and their effectiveness." And this was originally written, I guess, in the context of the Arab Spring.
Right.
And the idea that basically populations could be...
Whole societies
could be changed.
Right.
Now, in another life, I worked at the U.S. Information Agency 150 million years ago. We were involved in hearts and minds, basically, right? This was an area where we thought we were pretty good. So isn't this, in a sense, good news? In that if the Russians are thinking we are going to have to compete with you around ideas, images, storytelling, we're pretty good at that. We have Hollywood.
I make the point that the global centers of technology and image making are 300 miles apart in California. We should actually be okay.
So I mean,
why aren't we?
Yeah, if they're saying that that's where the big competition is in the future, bring it on, it seems to me.
It is if we choose to fight, and choosing to fight is hard. All right, no, I mean that seriously, not flippantly like somebody's being incompetent, all right? We generally don't like the government controlling our information space, our information domain, all right? So you did U.S. Information Agency, all right? So that's pointing outward. And in a previous age, if you pointed it outward, it generally stayed outward, all right? In the current age, and I actually experienced this when we started talking covert influence campaigns in CIA, which of course, governments do. It's getting very, very hard to conduct a covert influence campaign in a digital world whose effects remain isolated to the suspected, pretended, specific target.
Right.
It blows back on your own population, which we are absolutely forbidden to do. So although we probably have the talent and we probably have the technology, we are limited by a couple of things. One, law, policy, Constitution, and And frankly, we generally feel compelled to tell the truth when we do this, which gives you a time lag because you want to make sure what the truth is, and what's the old phrase, the lie's gone around the world a couple of times before the truth puts her boots on.
There's more information about cybersecurity, including information on General Hayden's new book, on our website. Just go to realcleardefense.com and you'll get a prompt to go to our cybersecurity page.